Hey everyone, welcome to this video on how to create fact outlines. So a fact outline is a good place to get started on your literature review. When you are just starting out learning a topic, it's a good idea to get a review article. And as we've talked about, review articles are things like meta-analyses, meta-syntheses, systematic reviews, or just articles. If you can't find any of those, because they don't exist in every topic, if you can't find any of those, just something with a really long literature review. So they cite a lot of sources at the end of it. They do tend to be longer, but the goal of reading these articles at the beginning is to get a good sense of the overall literature on that topic. So review articles will often point out areas where the literature is lacking or common findings in the literature. So it's a good idea to get a sense of how different articles sort of fit together and what the key themes are. So I've identified this article, which is for my working question on what teaching methods work well with open educational resources and how does that impact student learning. So I think I might go towards the flipped classroom model. I'm not really sure. So I think the thing that I want to get at now is learning more about other studies of open educational resources. You may have a specific idea as to what you want to do and what variables you want to study. So for example, you might have an intervention that you're looking at, whether it's like CBT or something like that, or providing medication-assisted treatment for people who have substance use disorders. Whatever that stuff is, you want to see what other people have studied about that topic. Anyway, so the best place to start, definitely take a look at the abstract, make sure it's going to give you what you need, and that the title is sort of accurate to what you thought it was going to be. But the next thing to do is basically just copying and pasting different stuff. So you're going to want to take out from this article everything that you would need from it. So anything that you think might be potentially useful for you as you're writing your literature review. So it might be a good idea at this point to take a look at the literature review prompt for the one that you have to write to see what kind of questions you have to answer and what sort of topics you're expected to cover. And if you're looking at that prompt in my class, one of the things you're going to have to do is create a problem statement. So something out there that explains why the thing that you want to study is such an important issue. So generally those are found at the beginning of each article because people want to sort of draw you in and talk about why it's important right away. So in this article, I see a couple of things that might help me with my problem statement. So this one right here, in many cases, students report not purchasing the required commercial textbook and consequently not doing so well academically. All right, so I'm going to copy that, and I like pasting without formatting, pasting special into Word. There are a couple of keyboard shortcuts you can use, but that's sort of what that looks like. I'm pasting from HTML to Word, which is super easy. Pasting from PDF to Word can be a pain in the butt, honestly, because PDFs are images, and so it'll do its best to try and approximate what that is in real text. But you might have to go and do some cleanup, like taking out enters or taking out spaces, or it can be a pain. So I'm going to take these two quotes, and I'm careful to make sure that I'm keeping the internal citation. First of all, these seem like they might be studies that I want to read. And since I've read this one, and it's something I'm going to want to cite. So let's say I wanted to use this fact in my literature review. I would not cite Hilton. I would cite the original source. And in fact, I would want to go read the original source so I could see what underperforming academically meant. So specifically, like people drop classes, they fail classes, having more data around that would be good. This is an article that I haven't read yet, but I would probably add it to my to-do list. I'd at least take a look at the abstract and see if there's anything else that's more specific here that would help me make my point better. So that's really what this assignment is. The goal is to create a worksheet or to create an outline that helps you understand things. So one of the things that you can do, you're not required to do it at this point, but something that can be helpful is to create these little is to create sort of notes to yourself. What do these things mean? What are they about? And these things can change, as you are sort of copying and pasting from this article. And so it helps you sort of group similar ideas together, facts that are about the same thing together, so that you can sort of build a structure and get a sense of like, if you're just looking at your outline, where does everything fit in? And then as you're reading more and more articles, you can see the same sort of themes and stuff coming up over and over again. And it'll help you organize your stuff for your literature review. So ultimately, what I'd want to do is just go through this article and copy and paste anything that I think I would need. The goal here is to basically not have to read the original article again. You've copied most of the stuff that you need. Some things you want to avoid are just like copying and pasting entire like paragraphs. And like, I'm glad that that paragraph is interesting to you. Good Lord, that really doesn't want to select, does it? All right. So that paragraph might be interesting to you, but you do want to break it down because there's going to be a lot of specific facts in here. And so maybe you want this sentence in particular, or this one isn't particularly helpful for you. So break it into specific sentences, or even smaller than that. It can be specific phrases. So sometimes you'll see really long sentences in literature reviews that cite multiple sources throughout the sentence. So you can chop those up depending on what you need. I'm going to pause here. So I'm going to switch here to some previous outlines that I had done, ones that are complete. So on the left here, you guys see a fact outline. So this is everything that I've copied on a study on intimate partner violence in just the general population inside of the US. So as you see, I just have like a really long list of different facts from this article. Your book talks about building a topical outline, and we talked a little bit previously about how to sort of build some ideas as to where this stuff is going to fit. So if you have this list of stuff on the left here, you can then take that and just figure out where does all of this stuff fit in for a topical outline. So for example, this is good for my problem statement. This helps me define one of my variables. And obviously yours are going to look somewhat different. So for me, you can sort of see how I've organized risk and protective factors for IPV. You have things like race, age, income, all of these things that might be helpful in structuring some of my literature review. And the goal is your topical outline, which you guys are going to be turning in a couple of weeks, is to build these fact outlines on at least a couple of different articles and then turn them all into a big topical outline, which is going to form the basis of your literature review. And we're starting with a